Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Code with Santosh. In our previous chapter, we have discussed about the pseudo elements. In this video, we are going to discuss about the pseudo class. So what is pseudo class? So pseudo class is can be considered as the special state of any HTML element. Okay. So let me write something so that I can describe it. Uh, Okay, I have just written a sentence here, and so this sentence we can add any of the pseudo classes. Like there are so many pseudo classes are like active, hover, link, visited, first child, focus, etc. Okay, so these are some of the most commonly used pseudo classes. So we can use these pseudo classes. They can provide you some state of this HTML element. Okay. So for this p tag, I am just adding a class so that this does not get applied to all the paragraphs. Okay. P dot, and here I am using some pseudo class which is hover is a pseudo class. Okay, and I am going to use the color of this to red. Save this, and I will also do one thing. I will copy and paste this line again here, but I will remove the this class. Okay, one, and it will be two. Let me save this. Now you can see that there are two paragraphs, which for the first paragraph we have not used any of the class, but for the second paragraph text we have added a class as para. And in our CSS file we have used a identifier like this dot para because it's a class, and we have used this pseudo class which is hover, and we have used some CSS properties like color is red. Okay, so what is hover? Hover is when you move your cursor just over that particular HTML element. So I am going to move our cursor to this second line, and now you can see that this color of this p element has changed to red, and once I remove the cursor from there, now you can see that this again become to its original state or original color or whatever we have used for the p tag. Okay, but when we move our cursor once again to this element, you can see that the color of this text is changed to red. So you can use any of the properties here like the font size or anything else, margin, padding or font family, whatever you want to use, you can use all these things here. You can use background color, image, etc. So to make them, like when you hover them, this CSS properties will get applied to this pseudo class. Okay, so this is how you can use this pseudo class. There are other pseudo class are also there, like let me copy and paste this once again. Let me write a button here, and I'm going to add some box shadow. Three pixel, 2 pixel, 5 pixel, and this one. Okay, and when it's active is also a pseudo class. Okay, so let me save this and run this on the browser. Now you can see that there is a small button here. Okay, and once I click on this button, I have not released the click. I have just clicked it, and the button is pressed like this. Mouse button left click is pressed at the moment. Now you can see there is some difference from its original state. Like you can see some shadow is there on the right and bottom section of this button. But once I release the mouse click, now this shadow is removed. So this active is also very much in use. Like you can use it according to your requirement to like any of the buttons or anything else. Like when you click on this button, this CSS properties will get applied. Okay, so I will also add a padding here so you can see some more difference. Okay, let me save this, and again I have clicked. Now you can see that there is also some padding applied to this button. Okay, so this way you can use active as well, which is a pseudo class, to your buttons or any other HTML elements according to your requirement. Okay, so we have used active, hover, link is also there. So let me give you example of link as well. Let me remove this. Okay, and I'm just using this link. Okay, and target will be blank, so I just want to open this. When we click on this link, okay, this will get open into another tab. Let me save this. Now you can see there is a link. Okay, just let me click this. Now you can see that this link open into another tab, but there is no difference in this text. Okay, so let me add some CSS as well for this. So A, and I'm going to add two things. First, the link. So here I will use as text decoration none. It means you can see that there was a line just below this text. Okay, I'm just removing that line. So there is now, excuse me. So now there is, excuse me. So now there is no underline just below of this text. Okay, this link. So here you can define whatever properties you want to define to this link pseudo class. So whatever there are, suppose there are thousands of links are there in your web page, and you can define all the pseudo this link pseudo class certain properties. There is another pseudo class is like visited. You can also use the visited pseudo class for link, but you need to check them in the and the pseudo. You can also use another pseudo class that is visited. So let me write this. So this way you can also use visited class, it is also used for the link which you once clicked. This class will get applied to that link. So, and one more important thing you need to know here, that visited sometimes does not work with many browsers. So you need to check that with after implementing the CSS properties, you need to validate that using different browser if that particular browser supports this visited or not. Okay, so I'm not going to implement that visited to the HTML thing and not showing this part because many browser does not support this visited class. Okay, so next one is like you can go for the first child one. Okay, so in our HTML we have few paragraphs. So I'm going to write P first child. Okay, so this one, let me go to the browser. Okay, this one I am going to change the color of this first line. So let me make the background color red. Okay, let me save and run this. And let me comment all this. Now you can see that under this parent class there are two P elements, and the first one we have discussed that implemented this pseudo class to first as the first child. So I am changing the background color of the first child of P tag. So in there are two P tags, but for the first one this CSS class gets applied, and the whatever the CSS properties we will define here, those will get applied to this P element. Okay, so that's how you can use the first child as well. And one more item I just want to show you, that is input type text and name is something. Let me add a placeholder. Save this, and now you can see that there is one input type where we can enter any values. Okay, so I am going to add a pseudo class to input as well, that is focus. Okay, so here I will change the background zero 0.8, and I will also make the color as white. Okay, let me save this and run this. So now you can see that the input is as it was earlier, but once we click on this input, this class gets applied to that focus. Whenever we click on this input, this focus class gets applied to this input, and now whatever we will type, the font will be white and the background is gray. Okay, so once we remove the cursor from here and click somewhere else in our HTML page, now it again changed to the default whatever we have defined for that input type. Okay, and once we click on this focus class gets applied to input type. So this is very important. We use whenever we try to design a form, we use this focus so that user can understand that now we are into this input type and we can enter any field. Okay, so this is a very important thing which you can use for the form elements mainly. Okay, so that's all for this pseudo class. There are so many other pseudo class are also there. One more thing I just want to tell you that hover must be always applied after link and visited pseudo class. If hover is applied before this, then there might be some problem with hover or link and visited class. So it is always better to define the hover after visited or link pseudo class after these two. Okay. So we need to define this hover when we are using same hover class to this element. Suppose a tag we want to use hover, then we need to define this hover just after this. Okay, after link and visited. Okay. So I will, there are so many other pseudo class are also there. I will add them into the video description so that you can see all those pseudo classes as well, and you can also use them and practice them according to your requirement. Okay. So that's all for this video. Before moving forward, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe my channel. It will give me a huge motivation to create such videos. Thanks for watching. I will meet you again in our next chapter. Bye bye.